You guys are seen, you are known, you are understood, and you belong here. I want you to feel, even when other people don't understand what you're going through, it feels like the doctors don't believe you and it feels like you're never gonna get better, I'm here to tell you that you can get better. Hey friends, how are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing so well, and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something a little different, and it's because I just felt this pressing need to talk about this portion of my life because I think it's going to be very relatable to many of you guys who have chosen to thrift and also to, thrift for a living at times. And that is the topic of health and chronic illnesses, invisible illnesses. I have made one video about my chronic illness once before, but it's been a long time since I filmed that. And also, I've gained a lot of subscribers since then. So for those of you who are new especially, I would love to just share this piece of my story with you guys. And also, I think it should be an encouragement to you, no matter where you guys are at on your health journey. Even if you don't struggle with your health, I know you do know someone who does, even if you don't think so. So welcome, my name is Rebekah, and I have a chronic illness called autonomic dysfunction. So autonomic dysfunction really affects, for me personally, my blood pressure, and also it's sometimes known, or a part of what I have is sometimes known as POTS. And POTS is more common amongst women than men, but a lot of times it is dependent on your position, your body position. If you go from sitting or laying down to standing, it often can cause people to pass out. So that's pretty common, and that's just a piece of kind of my personal chronic illness, is that it is really easy for me to pass out. So the definition of autonomic dysfunction or dysautonomia, or even somewhat related to POTS as well, is that it's a dysfunction of the nerves that regulate non-voluntary body functions such as heart rate, blood pressure, and sweating. So it's very easy for me to be either really hot or really cold. There's usually no in between. I'm one or the other. I also, if I go too long without eating or drinking, or just even without sitting down for a while, I will start shaking uncontrollably, like literally shaking, and eventually I will pass out. Not super fun. I know a lot of people haven't passed out in their lives. For me, I will pre-syncope, so I will feel like I'm going to pass out quite often without actually passing out. The last time I passed out, it's been a while, because I know the symptoms and I know how I start to feel when I'm going to have a actual episode of passing out. Talk about getting diagnosed. But I want to share this too, because I think a lot of people can look in on my life and be like, she's young, she's healthy, she is doing all of these cool things. Like, I thrift for a living, I do all these fun things. But a part of the reason why I do these things is because it's hard for me to live a normal life. It's hard for me to wake up every morning. If I don't get enough sleep, I will feel so sick. It's hard for me to wake up and go into a 9-to-5 job. Like, my body is not super well suited to that. And so that's part of the reason why I do what I do. But also, I think there's some really important things that we can talk about when it comes to the topic of chronic illness and of invisible illnesses, because they are invisible. A lot of people won't assume that you have something wrong with you, but also it can be really isolating, it can be really lonely, and it can really be easy to feel misunderstood and just alone when you are dealing with something that makes you not the norm when it comes to people's health. Like, normal people can regulate their blood pressure. Their body does it automatically. For me, not so much. If I walk up the stairs too quickly, I will literally just have to stand there and just wait for my vision to come back, because the stairs are really difficult for me because my blood pressure is not raising at the right levels. But I don't always feel this way. And so I got diagnosed with autonomic dysfunction when I was 16, after months and months of just feeling really kind of sick. And especially, it would kind of really pop up. I was sweeping my parents' floors as a child. I would just feel so sick. And now I know it's because I was leaning to sweep and my blood pressure wasn't raising. So I was feeling like I was going to pass out all the time. Didn't get diagnosed for a while until I was 16. I was in a school assembly, and we were packed in the bleachers, and I just started feeling so sick. And one of the symptoms of, what I have is that first kind of feeling in your gut is that, I feel nauseous. I feel like I'm about to puke. And then I had a friend there and I went to stand up and I just fell over on top of all my friends because I didn't realize what was happening, but I also had no control of my arms or legs. So really scary stuff. And so I got diagnosed with this condition by a tilt table test. I had done a lot of other testing, but at this point, they strap you onto a level table. After laying there for like 15 minutes, you have like an IV in and everything. Then they raise you up to like maybe like around 90 degrees. And if you have what I have, you will just pass out. And so I passed out. I literally was up there for like 20 seconds and I was gone. And so that's how I got diagnosed. But I want to share this with you guys too, because I want to hopefully make you feel less alone if you're dealing with something similar, or if you know someone who's dealing with something. A lot of people have POTS, but also a lot of people have these chronic illnesses, these hidden illnesses, and it can really mess with your mind. So for me, I know I got diagnosed at 16, and then when I went to college at like 18 or 19, I was taking medicine, and then I just got better. And I thought that was it for my chronic illness story. I thought I was going to be just fine after that. I stopped taking medication, and I was healthy for years until we moved to Maryland. In the last like 2 or 3 years, I started having episodes all the time. I went from having maybe a handful of times where I felt like I might pass out over the course of my ages 19 to like 26, almost daily, feeling like I was gonna pass out multiple times a day, which was debilitating for me, for my business, for holding a job. I don't know how people could. And so I got back on medication, and I'm still in the midst of this flare. I'm 28, and often if I am crouching for too long, taking too many steps, if I'm bending, if I'm squatting, I will feel so sick. So it's a very interesting thing. But I'm not sharing it with you guys to get sympathy. I've kind of gotten past that point, luckily, but I am sharing though because especially when I was a little bit younger, when I would feel sick, if I wasn't around people that understood or knew about my chronic illness, it could be so embarrassing. It would be really embarrassing to be going upstairs with somebody, or just going upstairs during college and being like, wow, this is like the worst workout of my nightmare. Because also part of my disease part of it is called exercise intolerance. So I've gained weight because literally exercising makes me feel like I will pass out, which is not ideal. So it's been tough. But I want to share too, because that embarrassment you feel for not being normal, I'm sure somebody else is feeling that too. So it took me a long time, even with my husband, to feel comfortable saying, I feel like I'm about to pass out, like I need help, I can't do it, because it feels so weird sometimes to admit out loud to people that I am struggling, and how I'm struggling you will not understand because you haven't experienced it. And so I know for a fact how it feels to feel like no one has experienced what I'm experiencing, and to feel like the sympathy isn't always there because they don't understand, they haven't lived in your skin and know what it feels like to lose all your vision, for your arms to literally go weak and not be able to use your arms, and then to, lose complete control over your body. And that can be really scary. But it also can be really scary to admit to other people too that you are not the norm when it comes to health, or you're not the norm when it comes to other things too. And I know it's not just my disease. I know many other people have diabetes, or they have something else that's a hidden illness, or a mental illness. But I feel like it can be really embarrassing at times for you to be trying to help somebody else understand where you're coming from and how you're feeling when they haven't felt it. And so sometimes there's really a lack of empathy. There's a huge lack of people caring if they haven't been through it. And I know that's so hard. I also feel like it can be isolating as well. So like if you feel that isolation of, I have this thing that I'm dealing with and no one else understands, and no one is sympathizing with me, and no one is helping me because they think either that it's not a big deal or it's not actually real. I'm here to tell you that your experience is valid. How you feel is valid, even if other people don't understand. And I am here to tell you, even if I haven't experienced what you're experiencing, I have experienced something similar. And you guys are seen, you are known, you are understood, and you belong here. I want you to feel, even when other people don't understand what you're going through, if you are experiencing a weird health phenomenon and it feels like the doctors don't believe you and it feels like you're never gonna get better, I'm here to tell you that you can. You can get better and you can feel somewhat normal again. You can feel healthy and strong even when your body says that you can't, even when your doctors or people in your life don't understand and think that you're faking or things like that. It's possible for you to find a health level that will work for you. But even now, for me, it's been a few hours since I've eaten anything, and I can even start to feel the shakiness begin. Maybe you can't see it on the screen, but I'm not doing anything. It's just, my normal. And at one point in my life, I thought I was going to be a doctor. There is a 0% chance that I could do surgery or anything with the way my hands shake. I think too, it's easy, at least it was easy for me to feel ashamed, to feel like, oh, I'm doing something wrong or I did something wrong to make my body feel this way. And that's not true. You don't deserve the things that are wrong with your body. I feel like somebody needs to hear this, that you don't deserve the things that are wrong with your body. And some of us are just made differently. And that's okay. And it's okay to have a different experience than other people. And if somebody is completely healthy, good for you, but also watch a video like this and learn that there are some things that are hidden beneath the surface and that you can be an advocate and a partner and just somebody that with a sympathetic ear when somebody might be feeling a different way than you. I think also too, let's have sympathy for people. I know it's easy, even when you're just out and about walking around, if you see somebody like in a wheelchair or in one of those little electric scooters at the grocery store, it's easy to judge people based on how they look, to say, oh, that person in that little electric wheelchair, they don't look like they should be in that. Like, why are they using that? When you don't know what's underneath, you don't know what they have faced. That's the thing too. You don't know what anyone has faced in their life. You don't know the battles that they're facing on the daily. You don't know how many people are battling those mental illness battles every day, which is exhausting. You don't know what things they have overcome. And we are so quick to judge, and it is not okay. And I think just more sympathy, more understanding, being more educated, and also understanding too that you're not alone, that you can feel understood even if somebody doesn't understand, I think is super helpful. And there is hope. There's hope that you can feel better, that you can get better, that you can find a medication that works for you. If you don't feel good right now, that doesn't mean you're always going to feel bad. A lie that we often believe too as people who might be facing some physical problems is that how I feel today is how I'm always going to feel, and that is not true. So don't give up. Keep on fighting. Keep on fighting to help those around you understand. And you're not alone. There's so many people out there that are facing things like chronic illness, chronic pain, invisible illnesses, mental illnesses, all these things that you can't see, that from the outside, do I look like I'm gonna pass out every other moment? No, but that is something I face, and that's something that I have to live a little differently to counteract, to balance. And it can be hard sometimes when you get judged for doing things that are helping you stay healthy. So it's a very interesting concept today. I hope that you guys hear my heart in this. I hope that this helps somebody feel more understood, more known, and not alone, because I know when I first got diagnosed, I didn't know anyone else that had something like what I have. I didn't know anyone else with POTS. I didn't know anyone else who would pass out, who would lose the feeling in their arms. Now I know all my symptoms. It took a couple of rounds of passing out before I figured out when I start to feel that sickness, I just need to lay on the ground. You, maybe after feeling the way you feel and you feel those symptoms coming on, maybe there's something you can do to help prevent a full-on flare. Maybe even for mental health, if you feel kind of like you're getting stuck in that those depressive and those anxious thoughts, maybe there is something that you can do. Maybe you take a nap, maybe you go for a walk. There's some way to stop that from getting to a full-blown flare. So if you guys have any questions about my chronic illness, about living life with my chronic illness and things like that, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys have dealt with a chronic illness, an invisible illness, a mental illness, anything that has made you feel alone, let me know in the comments, because you are not alone. And I would love to comment back to you guys and let you know that you are seen and that I see you and that I hear your struggle and that your struggle is valid and real. And even if no one else feels like it is, just because no one else that you know is experiencing the same thing you are doesn't make it any less real. And I think that that can be something that feels really hard when you're in the midst of a struggle or flare. So let me know in the comments. We can all support each other here. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll get back to some good thriftiness here soon, but I think it's important to also know that behind the camera, there's a real person here. I struggle too, just the same way you guys do. And I face a lot of health struggles even though I'm young. So I hope this made sense to you guys. I hope that this impacted you, or at least helped you to at least kind of question yourself, your thoughts that you might have if you don't struggle, that maybe there's someone around you that is struggling and that just needs to feel loved by you and understood, and just listen. A lot of us can share pretty eloquently what we're struggling with, but sometimes it just takes that question from somebody else, asking, wanting to understand. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I would love to have you here in this community. You guys are welcome here. So thank you guys. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and until the next video, bye. Odie, can you say it gets better? Yes, it gets better, doesn't it?